Who the fuck are you? You nothing. You nothing. You are nothing. And you will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to PTR Radio on the fabulous interweb. It's been a while. So long that I think that intro was a little bit different. I think I do it slightly differently. It's been that long that I forgot how I normally do that. And I screwed up. I'm restarting the intro. Everything is just bizarre. So there we go. All right. So,
okay.
It's been that kind of day. It's been that kind of month. I'll be happy when this month is over with. A lot poorer, but I'll be happy. Mike, you stepping down to Miller Lite tonight?
Oh, no, I'm saving. So right before the show, I had to think about it, and it was like, it's been a while. Did we review that? No, we didn't yet. So I'm saving my hard liquor for when we get to the movie reviews.
All right.
Because,
I was thinking it's been so long since we've done a show, I forgot what movies we're reviewing.
Exactly. That's what I had to go check. And as soon as I opened it up, because I keep all of my movie reviews saved in the same folder. So if someday someone will find my hard drive and think that I once lived as a famous movie reviewer, what this means, though, is the last document in there, obviously, or the most recent one, is the movies we're reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw one of those titles, I said, Jack, I'm going to need some hard liquor later in the show. So, yeah.
Well, it's funny. So I was at I was at an event, and it was a family thing. I think it was a birthday party or something. And they were like, hey, you should watch, because they're like, well, you have some pretty killer movies on your Plex. I'm like, yes, I do. I have a lot of my own personal DVDs that I've bought backups on my Plex server. You're right. And they're like, there was one that was like bikini babes in spaceships. And I'm like, oh, it's space bikini babes from outer space. And they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, well, it's just one of those things you don't forget. And they're like, what was the one with the dinosaurs? I'm like, Bikini Babes in the Land of Dinosaurs. And then they're like, why do you have all these really bad movies? And I'm like, well, there's some real good ones in there too. And I'm like, have you seen Zombies? I'm like, that's a good one. I mean, it's good bad, but it's a good. I'm like, Zombies 2 wasn't terrible. And they're like, oh, you mean like Velocipaster? And I'm like, funny enough, not only did we watch Velocipaster, but we were tweeting with people from the movie. I'm like, so, yeah,
correct.
Velocipaster. I'm like, by the same people who brought you Killer Sofa. And they're like, what? There's a movie about a killer sofa? I'm like, yeah, there's a movie about a killer sofa. And so they're like, I don't understand why you do this. And I'm like, because somebody has to. Somebody has to watch these movies, and somebody has to tell you if they're any good. And then they're like, well, is there any other... and I'm like, well, Tammy and the T-Rex. I'm like, and so, but I got to looking because I was going to post about Velocipaster, and that it came up in a conversation that I had, and I tripped across some news that Velocipaster 2 is coming out. Not only Velocipaster 2, they got picked up for a trilogy. So you're going to get a Velocipaster 3. Yes. It was such a cult internet classic that they got signed up for 2 more movies on a movie that the initial budget was only $36,000. They failed to make their Kickstarter goals. That's how bad this movie was. So, yep. So, I'm just like, it's really weird that, now I'm kind of getting known as the weird movie guy. So,
no, the fact that we never got that was actually pretty damn good, I must say. For those wondering.
Oh, okay.
Revel Stoke cherry flavored whiskey. I expected it to be horrible, but no, it was actually not bad.
I would expect it to taste like cough syrup.
Now that you mention it, it does kind of taste like the red Vicks.
Yeah.
Cough syrup. Anyway, the fact that we never got Iron Sky 3.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
But we're going to get Velocipaster 2 and 3. That upsets me.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we could tie that to one of the topics that kind of upsets me a little bit. This has been a sore subject of mine for a while. The director of Red Notice was apparently moving forward with a live-action Voltron movie, which I think is awesome, as long as it doesn't get too Power Ranger-esque. However, it brings me to, when the hell is Tobey Maguire going to stop worrying about the multiverse Spider-Man and figure out this live-action Robotech movie that I have been bitching about for 10 years?
Yeah. I mean,
Robotech would be a much better... Well, actually, Robotech would be a great... Robotech could be the next Battlestar Galactica.
I mean,
if Sci-Fi wanted to invest a year or two, because that apparently is all they allow shows to run anymore.
Voltron's already been rebooted and remade several times, so a live action is definitely, it's ripe for it. But yes, you are correct. Let's not have another Power Rangers.
No,
by Bandai.
Yeah, technically, Power Rangers was another Voltron, but
yes. I'm talking about the movie. Talking about the movie in general, not the chicken or the egg.
No, but they did the same thing of taking a Japanese show and then overlaying on top of it a bunch of English words and making a completely different show out of it, and then selling it to kids.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I guess my point, I'm thinking more of like the last reiteration of the Power Rangers movie, which was not terrible in and of itself.
No,
the CGI was decent. I don't like how they kind of deviated a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, they could have just called it anything else other than Power Rangers and gotten away with it.
But the way that the Zords came together to fight the evil kaiju or whatever the freak they're called, and that translates to a Voltron movie easily.
Yeah.
Not Robotech.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the same guy, though. The same, like you said, the same guy who did Red Notice is looking at this, and he's already on the hook for doing 2 more Red Notices. So Hollywood is...
I'm not mad about.
Is trilogy crazy, right? And Red Notice was good. We reviewed it. We liked it. I think we all liked it. We said, hey, it's a real movie. know. And so, I mean, as long as they... I hate to say it, but as long as they treat this like a real movie, or, if maybe they get some of the special effects from like Pacific Rim, that could be kind of cool.
The first one.
The first one,
yeah,
not the second one.
Not the second one. The second one, we don't talk about the second one.
No.
And this is the other thing. They have, all right, so Voltron was one of my most favorite cartoons when I was a kid. And I was excited when I was able to watch the original animation again. And at that point, I'm watching it, and I'm like, God, this kind of sucks.
I just got tired of the repetition. And why they didn't build Voltron, just form Voltron, kill the thing when it's little, don't let it grow up, and be done by home in time for lunch.
Right. Okay, but here's part two of that, right? Like you look at the original Battlestar Galactica TV series. They used a lot of the same shots of the Vipers and the Cylon Raiders and all because it was all models and motion capture type, scale.
Yeah.
Practical effects, whatever, however you want to call it. So, yes, Voltron used a lot of the same animation cuts over and over again. Form Blazing Sword, same thing.
Yeah.
Every show. There was no variation to that. My point being, they have the opportunity to take this in a Battlestar Galactica-esque reboot and make it darker.
Did you watch DreamWorks? Did you watch the DreamWorks Voltron?
I may have watched one episode of it. I don't remember if I followed through with it. Because it was a series on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, it was it was darker. It had much more of a story to it. But here's what I'll say, Mike, to the repetition, and the repetition was there, of course, because there was a lot of original footage they can't use because there was a lot of people getting killed. So repetition helped fill that in. But I will say the repetition was important. I've watched a lot of more recent kids television, and I'm like, they've lost that point of repetition where you're really looking forward to that sequence with the special music where things are going to happen, and you can overdo it, but sometimes, man, you just really want that.
So there was I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there was going back to kind of like a Power Rangers analogy. So there was a 2015 short film, fan film, called Power Rangers Unauthorized. And it was a dark, gritty re-imaging of the franchise.
Was that the one that had Katie Sackhoff and James Vanderbeek?
Yes, it was.
Yes, and James played, I want to say...
He was Rocky.
So he was one of the Rangers and he went bad, but all the other Rangers wound up getting killed by the Green Ranger or something.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember seeing that. Yes, it was that was awesome. That was 100% awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, talk about taking it in a different direction. That definitely would be one way to take it.
You can take it to. There was a there was a Voltron comic a couple years back. They took that too dark, and I was just like, no, I don't want soap opera. I don't want, drunk people trying to get. I don't need alcoholic pilots of the Lions that are trying to get.
No.
It's just like no,
and by dark, like compare the original.
I understand. I agree.
Yeah, I don't want. Now, granted, the Ron Moore Battlestar Galactica reboot that did go very dark for some episodes. Yeah. It got downright creepy in some episodes. I'll admit that, but kind of take every show has to push the boundary a little bit, like.
Yeah.
Even Fresh Prince, I'm thinking back like Fresh Prince when Carlton went out and bought a gun. I remember that episode. Or like when Will's dad came and left again. They all touch on those topics those really dark topics every once in a while. But I guess my point is if they gear this Voltron to people to my generation, the ones that grew up knowing it and would recognize a little the story a little more, not try to market it to a whole new audience, I think they might have something.
Right.
But damn it, I still say Robotech is just as much a marketable property. The problem is it's caught in ownership hell. Like nobody knows who actually owns the rights to this story, which is a great story. And I know even Robotech, that was another one that was they took anime that and they just re-edited and redubbed it. Wasn't it Super Dimensional Fortress? Wasn't that what it was actually called? I think.
Well, yeah, because there's Robotech and there's Macross, and
I think they actually combined the two.
Yeah, they're all kind of intermingled in some ways. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'll tell you what. Have you ever watched Space Battleship Yamato?
Yes.
They did do a. Well, there's been different versions of that too. I think I much prefer the more recent version of it, but they did do a live action of that, and that was very interesting. So if they could do something like the live action Yamato with Voltron, and
now
in English, so that you don't have to read it.
Didn't they? And Shaggy, I've been kind of watching on Facebook. I don't think we had one come in. SDF-1, yeah. Nate said SDF-1 was the main ship. Yeah, but for some reason I thought that Super Dimensional Fortress was the name of the original manga series. Then it became Robotech when they redid it in America via Harmony Gold. I think there was the owners. Shaggy, you got the messengers?
I got
it's
it
not
up
coming
now.
up for me.
You should be able to get it now.
So the original show was Super Dimension Fortress Macross.
Okay, all right.
And
So
that one
I
was later turned into Robotech.
Okay, all right. Now what was the other? Now, like the other one, it seems like I hate to say this, but like a lot of the original like anime type or Japanese animation seems like it would translate to live action well, and I just had to go and look because I couldn't remember if it happened or if it got shelved or what. But wasn't there going to be Akira was the first real anime film that I remember people I was exposed to, and Taika Waititi is still trying to make a live action Akira happen. I think the technology is finally there. Now, I've said for a long time that Robotech wouldn't have... Pacific Rim actually proved a lot to me that you could do a live action Robotech or Voltron or any of those. Transformers, to an extent, I guess when it was a Michael Bay thing, so you take the good with the bad, but that kind of proved it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But live action anime has also proven that a lot of it is casting.
Well, yeah, you don't. If you redid Akira, don't cast Tobey Maguire as in the lead role. All right, Ghost in the Shell, I think, made that mistake with Scarlett Johansson.
Exactly where I was going. The moment you've cast someone like Scarlett Johansson, it's not going to work.
I liked Aeon Flux. Thought that was
Aeon Flux was great.
Mm-hmm.
That was anime that. Yeah, I mean, that's a sleeper hit right there. I loved it. And it was true to at least the MTV version of Aeon Flux that I remember. That was from the days that... Go ahead.
Yeah, Charlize Theron, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was from the time, okay, I remember they was talking about they were going to make a live-action Daria, too. And
there was a trailer for it. Somebody did a trailer for that on YouTube.
Yeah, I really don't think we need that. I mean, that's pretty much life at this point. People are like a live-action Beavis and Butthead, and I'm like, no, because that's too close to politics these days. I mean, come on now. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Now, I got too many channels here. Now, was there another movie related?
Well, we obviously there's a lot of stuff entertainment related. So one of them was the revelation about Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
right.
All right,
and his aphasia diagnose, revealing an aphasia diagnosis. Which we had made comments, kind of about some of his acting gigs, and we wondered why he was taking them. When he was in a movie for all of 10 minutes or whatever.
And look, we were not the only ones. A lot of people questioned it.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember if it was him or if it was another actor that legitimately had like gambling debts that they had to pay off. So they were taking a lot of these like the direct-to-DVD movies.
We've said the same thing about Nicolas Cage. It's like, hey, listen, you don't have to say yes just because they put a script in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Nicolas Cage was income tax that he was having to pay off. But what Nicolas Cage said is, yes, I did a bunch of movies, and I put everything I could into every single one of those. And he's proud of all of them because he thinks he did a good job. Regardless if the movie was good or not, he felt that he put in the effort. But what's going on with Bruce Willis is...
We can't say he didn't put in the effort.
He was already out of it. He wasn't even making the decisions himself. He didn't. I was reading the stories about these directors who were told, "Oh no, he's doing much better this year. He's much better the last time you saw him. He's going to be great." And then he comes in and he's not even sure what they're doing or why he's there. They had like earpieces and people were like feeding him the lines as he was saying them. That's just no. That's darn
I haven't read the story to the extent that you have. It's my understanding, though, that Bruce knew his condition was only going to get worse, barring some breakthrough treatment. And he wanted to work as much as he could to make sure that he had something, or his family wasn't burdened.
Yeah.
So there is a part that I kind of question, like how much of this did his agents do with his blessing versus going the path like you kind of alluded to with the elder abuse. At some point, you got to say, look, Bruce, I know what you're trying to do, but it's embarrassing now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you got to come out with it.
I think that's what the directors were saying was,
yeah.
Look, it was fine. He wanted to get the work, great, but they had him doing this way too long. I mean, when you have the directors going, I was not happy with the position I was put in. This felt bad to me, and I'm never ever going to do that again. I mean, that's what was happening in some of those. I think that was actually one of the. I forget which one it was, but one of the movies we saw.
Probably Cosmic Sin or whatever it is.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but yeah, he was like, this was not good. This wasn't I didn't get a good performance and it hurt my movie. It was I felt like I had to take a shower.
Now, the one thing I'm going to say is, like, Kevin Smith came out, and Kevin Smith notoriously has said how much of a difficult time he had working with Bruce Willis on Cop Out. And he came out and apologized for what he said. Unpopular opinion here. Cop Out was far enough back. We don't know that the interaction had anything to do with aphasia. I'm not of the if
that was 2010. I mean, it's entirely possible that even back in 2010, things were starting. I mean, just think back movies that Bruce Willis has been in. when was the last one you can think of where he did a good job of acting?
I thought he was good in Cop Out.
Saying never, but
I mean, I thought Cop Out. All right, so now I got to go to IMDb and look to see.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
like because chronologically, now let's just go to the authority here. Filmography. All right, so let me just go back here. Red, I
like him in
agree.
Red.
Red, he was still good at Red.
And Red 2 was good. I just watched
Cop
Red
Out was
good.
I liked
Cop Out was before. Well, Cop Out was before Red, so that kind of lines up with. I get my point here is if you worked with him when he was showing these signs, and you didn't know what quite was up, he was off. Okay, but if you worked with him and he was an asshole, then don't feel like you have to apologize for comments you made. There's no need to sanitize history here. If he was look, if somebody worked with him when he shot his HBO special, The Return of Bruno, back when he thought that he was a blues singer and was playing the harmonica and doing concerts, and somebody said, well, I had an experience with him and he was a complete dick to me, don't feel like you got to come out and apologize. Let's not sanitize everything here.
No.
If you worked with him on Friends when he was a guest host or on The Whole Nine Yards, it's a safe bet that this was not an issue back then. I guess that's where I'm kind of...
Yeah. Speaking of another kind of situation, which is, hit a boiling point and then people are having different opinions of it. The Oscars. It's a bit removed now, but Chris Rock and Will Smith got into a tussle.
They did?
Yeah. Yeah, they did, Mike. I don't know how you didn't find this out, but yeah, there was an exchange of not pleasantries.
I thought
it
was all an act.
Will Smith went up and said, "Hey Chris, you got something on your cheek. Let me take care of it for you." And that's what happened. He had a crumb or something on there, I guess, and the only way to get rid of it was to punch it off. So, but and there's opinions one way or the other. Like Mike said, the popular opinion was it was staged because the Oscars has had lagging viewership for years, and up until that point, evidently, it was not viewed very well. After that, everybody wanted to tune in and find out what went on. So, the power of the physicality shows it's. So next show, Mike's going to punch out Colin, and we'll see what happens to the ratings.
That's going to be incredibly impressive considering we're 1,000 miles apart. Come on! We three may not always agree on stuff, but we three are never going to lay hands on each other.
We're not fighting.
I will be the first to say that.
No.
All right.
No.
And if we do lay hands on each other, it's going to be because you touched my fucking horseshoe.
And it won't be hands. It'll just be a fork right in the middle of your hand. It won't be, So, but yeah, I mean, that was, and there, everybody chimed in on it. Everybody except Chris Rock. Who didn't have
I don't blame
anything to say
him.
about it. I don't either.
I don't blame
want
him.
To talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I would have went radio silent about it too. He took the high road.
Yeah.
Now so the one thing I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to give in to any conspiracy theories or make it sound like I'm taking sides here, but the one thing I did notice is Red Table Talk came back. this past week. And everybody was talking about how Jada had finally spoke about this. And I did not hear what she said.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people on Twitter have stated, and I don't know, somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong, I'm sure, have stated that she said she's going to talk about it when the time is right. Like, she kind of just dragged on and let people think she was going to talk about that. And, people obviously, tuned in.
I thought was interesting was Chris Rock. I mean, all we have from Chris Rock so far is that he's going to talk about it after he gets paid.
Which was actually a reference to something to another incident that happened a long time ago. It wasn't anything,
But the other thing he said at the time is that he finally got his hearing back, and I was like, I'm not sure if Will got his ear or not, but that was just kind of a weird.
The way Will slapped him, it wasn't like
no,
you didn't get the right. It was more of almost like an open-handed punch. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. So, but you heard the thud, and at first I just thought it was because of his microphone, but I think that was just the blunt impact. So I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can. Don't get me wrong. I perfectly believe that he got his, he got to the ear somehow with that slap, and actually hurt Chris Rock's ear, and which that's probably the worst thing you could have. I mean, the actual slap to the front of the face, that would hurt. But if you actually got an eardrum punctured or something, that's
So for those listening in the podcast, Mama Blair just wrote in saying, I wonder how young Chris Rock would have reacted. He showed real restraint. Yes, he absolutely showed real restraint.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. When he was younger, like in the CB4 days, he may have reacted differently, but on the flip side to that coin is Will Smith might have reacted differently as well. Because Will Smith was more of the bubbly kind of comedic kid.
Yeah. He wasn't serious.
So the one thing I am going to say is I did notice, and there's been plenty of different angles of this. When Chris first made the G.I. Jane 2 joke, Will was laughing.
Yes.
Jada kind of rolled her eyes, and I took it at first as oh, that's a cheap joke, ha ha ha. Not like offended by it.
Yeah, I kind of.
And then
too.
it's almost there's been memes about it all over the place that Will looked over and saw that Jada was mad and was like, oh well, now I got to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
Shaggy, I'm sure you've been there with Angie, right? Where you thought something was funny and she was upset and you were like, well, I can't laugh at this.
Yeah, I've
been there.
Or more often than not, it's I don't think it's a big deal, but she does, so now I do.
Well, I think there's a very good video of the expert on body language, and he was making the point, we don't know what happened because the camera cut away. So at the point where Will Smith is laughing, he is in, I'm a celebrity at the Academy Awards, I'm on auto, and there's a comedian, he's saying something, it's my job to sit here and laugh at it, I'm not even really paying attention to it. That's what I'm here for. So I'm in this relaxed, ha 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 ha. Mm-hmm. We don't have the footage in between to have. Did he look at her and then decide it was bad, or is this if the camera had stayed, would there be in Will Smith's face wait a second, what did he say? I mean, that's what we don't know. I really wish we had that footage in between.
I thought somebody was taking a cell phone picture and they posted it. Somebody was taking, they were taping it with their cell phone who sat behind him, and they did release that. But I don't know. like I said, I saw the initial and I didn't want to dig into it anymore because it's Hollywood drama, so it doesn't affect us until we get invited to the Oscars, and then you can bet one of us is going to make a fool of themselves so that we get a little bit viral hit, and so that's just the way it's going to go. It's similar to the episode title for today, which is if Elon Musk wants to buy us out, we're for sale. We're not above being for sale.
No, but before we go to that, I think we need to also mention that the Oscars made headlines for another bad reason.
Yeah.
So the Oscars always have the in memoriam tribute.
Yeah.
Which also had the subtitle, or was going to have the subtitle this year. We invested in it. It was going to be AKA PTR Radio's Deadpool Top Earners.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm kidding. That's poor taste. I'm sorry. But they left out quite a few names again this year. Now there have been omissions in the past.
Yeah.
But this year they left out Bob Saget.
Which seems like a big one.
They left out Willie Garson, who is a pretty big one as well. He's got the face that if you saw it, you'd know him. You may not know him by name, but you know him. They left out Norm Macdonald, who pretty sure everybody knew one way or another. And they left out Ed Asner.
Yeah.
How in the hell?
It'd be worse if it was the Emmys doing that, but yeah.
The only way that you could have a bigger flub was if they had left out Betty White and Abe Vigoda, because Abe Vigoda is one of the few people that had a damn website. Is Abe Vigoda dead? .com. If they had left them out, that would have been a huge. That you might as well just shut it down. Don't ever host the show again. But these are some pretty big names.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted. I can't find it. I had one meme from the whole thing, from the whole Will Smith thing that I found very hilarious. And it was a picture of The Rock in a tuxedo up at some award ceremony going, "Hey, Jada, looking forward to seeing you at G.I. Jane 2. And then a picture of Will Smith going, very good joke, Mr. Rock, sir."
Yes. Yeah. That's true. That's a good. If it had been The Rock, Jason Momoa, the dude that played the Mountain in Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Idris Elba, Jason Statham, anybody like that has the physical ability to really kick somebody. Not 97-pound crack-ish looking Chris Rock. Would his reaction have been different? I mean, but then you got the flip side. If it was Patton Oswalt up there that had made that joke, what would Will have done? If it was Ellen DeGeneres up there that made that joke, what would Will have done?
Yeah.
So
thank goodness it was another black man and not a white guy.
Ricky Gervais.
Ugh. I just,
Ricky Gervais would have been insulting him as he walked up and as he walked away.
Ricky Gervais would have just thrown his beer right at him and been like,
"Oh."
All right.
This is what you get when you have such a delay between episodes.
Jackie, you started to.
Man, did you see that last episode of MASH?
Yeah. Shaggy, you started to steer us somewhere, and I kind of cut you off.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So, Elon Musk and Twitter have come to an agreement. Twitter has accepted the buyout offer from Elon Musk for $44 billion to own controlling stock of Twitter.
One of my friends posted up, and he said, Elon just threw an extra $1 billion out of his pocket to buy Twitter. Meanwhile, I'm shopping the Monday after Easter for half-price candy. What class? I feel like I should have went to class more. And I said, one of you has a year's supply of Reese's eggs. Who's the real winner here?
Yes.
Because I kind of feel like
I'm still going with Elon. So.
I don't know, man. That's like Twitter is like the bastard stepchild of the internet, and now that it's private, the best had to be okay. So I got to find it real quick here.
What I love is
Mama Blair was asking if Bill Saget was in a movie. Yes, he was. He was in a movie with Dave Chappelle. Where what was it? Half Baked.
Half Baked, yeah.
Yeah.
And he could never live down his line from that movie. Something about
he was also in Father and Scout. I remember him from that movie. I watched that. He was in Dirty Work, evidently. Cameo there. He was also in Critical Condition. Really? That is interesting. Wally Sparks he was in.
Well, Wally Sparks. That was the first movie I ever like.
Spaced Out. Really?
Watching.
He was in that? Cool. Now I have to watch that one. So yeah.
So I'm just looking through to see what a list was of who was in there, and because that's the problem. They can't. So it's less a question of who did they forget, and it's more of who did they include that we don't think should have been there.
Oh, I'm not touching that, man. I piss people off enough as it is. I'm not touching about. Oh, you died. You shouldn't be on our list. No.
Yeah.
No. That Colin's trying to get me bumped off by somebody in the Blair clan. Holy crap.
Now, what they did do is they did have a longer memoriam list up on their website with a list of absolutely everybody.
Okay.
But I'm just looking through the list of things and going, there's some that you look at and you say, well, I know Dean Stockwell more for TV than I did for movies. Ivan Reitman definitely needed to be there. Betty White. Well, she was the queen of Hollywood, so she had to be there.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to say, well, some of these people were just late. They had William Hurt. He only died on March 13th, so that was right before the ceremonies.
Yeah, so it's not a timing thing, although they have used that excuse in the past, that somebody died like the week of, and they couldn't get him in there. But to which my response is the South Park guys produced their stuff the night before their show airs. You're going to tell me you can't edit a picture into a PowerPoint presentation? Come on.
Okay, well, here's the important criteria, though, and that is, did any of those people, were they ever nominated for an Oscar? Like, I mentioned Dean Stockwell's name there, and I saw that he actually did have an Oscar nomination. Sally Kellerman, Ned Beatty. So, if they're going off of they're either going to have to be someone very important or at least have to have an Oscar nomination. I don't know. But some rule to cut back on people complaining about it's probably good. Okay.
So interesting. So getting back to the Twitter thing. So what's interesting about the Twitter thing is originally his first offer was rejected. Then he was offered a seat on the board.
It wasn't. No.
It was given a poison pill.
First he bought a big piece of it. Then he was offered a place on the board. And then he decided not to do that. And then he gave his offer. Now, once he put his offer in, they were still considering it. They went ahead and put in the poison pill thing just in case they needed it. But they had not rejected his original offer at that point. They were still thinking about it. Then they actually entered into negotiation, got him to get a little bit more money, got proof that he actually had the funding in blind for it, and then that's when they finally accepted it. So at no point there was he actually ever rejected.
So, the big thing is, according to this article from The Verge, it says
from what I understand, though, he before he announced, he owned it was around 9%, maybe 9.1% of Twitter stock, and that was after buying it all up. So he became the largest single shareholder of Twitter stock. He turned down the seat on the board because he found out that he would not be allowed to own more than 14% of the stock.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's why he turned it down.
Yes.
And he found out he wasn't going to be able to do whatever he wanted to. So yes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. So he's been, according to this article from The Verge, Musk has been outspoken in his criticism of Twitter moderation, describing himself as a free speech absolutist and raising concerns over how the platform would moderate under his control. He says it's just really important that people have the reality and the perception that they're able to speak freely within the bounds of the law. Musk said in an interview with Chris Anderson during TED 2022, I think broadly the civilization risk is decreasing the more we can increase the trust of Twitter as a public platform. Well, that's interesting because, to my knowledge, the censorship that he's talking about or that he's complaining about was put in place to ensure the trustfulness of the information on Twitter, or the trustworthiness.
I'd be very interested to see what actually happens once he takes over. I mean, there is a very large problem on both Twitter and YouTube with fake accounts impersonating Elon Musk and other people. And so that's that really needs to be cleaned up on both platforms.
Well, yeah, and there's that one Twitter account that posts everywhere that is plane flies. So,
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it, but he's not going to stop it. If he did stop it, that's where he'd be wrong.
Yeah, but that Twitter account has gone on to bigger and better things by tracking all the Russian oligarchs.
Yes.
Instead.
But
and yachts, I think.
So it'll just be interesting. It'll be interesting. There's one person who said that he will not rejoin Twitter. He's continuing on with his own social media platform,
which he's never posted to. Oh no, he did once.
He's not an official member. He says he's waiting another week to join.
Well, so and it's funny because that's kind of been the whole linchpin of this is people. So okay, I'm gonna read something here that a friend posted that I haven't verified. I am not reading this in. This does not reflect my opinion.
No.
Right. So apparently, Rob Reiner tweeted. Now that Elon Musk is buying Twitter, the question for all of us is: will he allow a criminal? Will he allow Trump back on? And if he does, how do we combat it? Right. And John Rich, the singer, half of Big and Rich, replied back to Reiner and said, "Calm down, Rob. I'm sure he'll let Hillary stay on Twitter." So, why is it? I hate politics. We've gotten to a point on the show where we kind of avoid political topics because they're just too polarizing, and we don't want to piss too many people off.
Yeah. Even though there's a huge thing going on right now that I'd love to talk about, but I'm not going to. There's a whole book full of it, but we're not going to talk about that.
Well, Jesus did die for our sins. What book are you talking about?
There's a book coming out. It's full of audio recordings and everything else.
Satanic Verses? What?
What is the name of that damn book? But yeah, there's a book based on the events of January 6th and phone calls that took place after with prominent Republicans.
Oh, okay. All right. See, that's how far removed I am at this point, because until stuff actually happens, I don't want to care about what could happen. All right. What happens happens. I mean, but that's what everybody's concerned about most with Elon buying Twitter. Nothing else except who's he going to let back on? Who gives a shit? If you don't like it, don't use Twitter. It's the same with Facebook. If you don't like what's going on Facebook, don't use Facebook.
Yeah.
Or hide everybody that you don't want. It is what you make it. Doesn't matter who else is on there.
That's actually the problem, Mike. I mean, when people are talking about the problem with social media, it's the hiding everybody who doesn't agree with you. Because when you do that, suddenly you're in an echo chamber, because all you see is everybody agreeing with you. And then when you're living in your own world where everybody agrees with you, then suddenly that becomes truth. And suddenly you now believe that we all actually live on the moon, and that thing that we call the moon is actually the Earth, because everybody you can see on Facebook believes that.
I understand, and I agree to a point. But if you absolutely, I'm just going to say his name, even though it could be like Candyman, he might pop up in my damn thing. If you absolutely despise everything that Trump stands for and everything he says, if Trump shows up on Twitter, friggin' block him. It's one person. That's all. That's what I'm saying. That one person coming back on the platform is not going to. And you're right. You are absolutely right. If you block every single person who disagrees with you, and in fairness, I have called people out for doing it to me. If I disagree with you and you block, and your first reaction is to block me, I call you out on it. You want to know why? Because I am quick enough to screenshot what your last reply to me was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I agree with you. You can't. Yeah. You can't sanitize it to the point where you are only following and only interacting with people of the same mindset. That is dangerous. Yeah. That is where issues come in. I 100% agree.
Yes. And that's where Facebook is evil, because Facebook starts picking up on that and just starts throwing even more of the same at you. And then you're not... Anyway, that's the problem with Facebook. That's not a problem with Twitter. I mean, Twitter is so fast moving. Here's the problem with Twitter, is the amount of people who overreact at the lack of reaction. So what happened today, okay? There was a clip of Steve Martin, King Tut thing, okay? So maybe 4 or 5 people on Twitter saw that for the first time in their lives and made a comment about how they thought that was disrespectful to Egyptians or something, okay? So now Twitter has blown up with people talking about people blowing up about Steve Martin's King Tut and how Steve Martin is a institution. And we're like, you look at it going, why is everybody getting all up to arms about 5 people? This is not a huge, upswell of people on Twitter trying to cancel Steve Martin. It's a couple morons. Anyway, that's the problem with Twitter. It's not the people canceling. It's the people reacting to the lack of canceling and turning it into something that doesn't even exist.
So,
and it happens both times. That goes both ways. It happens all the time on both sides.
So part of it, I wonder, is and maybe this is part of what Elon is thinking, when is part of this the algorithm that calculates what is trending.
Yes,
I will see a celebrity's name trend, and I will be the first one to admit I click on it. Why? Because Caesar over here is still maintaining the database in case we ever decide to run a celebrity death pool again. So I got to see if Denzel Washington passed away, if he's trending.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see if Bill Murray passed away because he was trending.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he was trending for
different reason. Well,
so that yeah.
Yes, that's the algorithm. If we can get access to the actual algorithm and everybody can see it and say, okay, this part here, this is the evil part, let's fix it. We're playing a game! Yay!
So, since we're talking about the internet, we are going to play Ask the Internet from our friends at Barstool Sports.
Is this that damn percentage thing again?
No, it is. No, it's not. It's not the percentage thing.
Okay.
And Mike, or actually, Colin, we'll start off with you.
Okay. We need anything to write on.
No, not really.
Okay.
No, these are just questions. A poll was taken of the internet. Okay? So according to Barstool readers, what percentage of Barstool readers okay, so here's a question. I'll just ask you the question. We'll forget about the percentage.
People in the world.
We'll just ask you the question and see if you agree with the Barstool readers.
Okay.
They're the reason that Heavy Water is actually like #1 seller on Amazon, not because of people with Mega E.
Here you go. Who has the easier job, Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny?
Who has the easier job? I'm going to go for Santa Claus.
83% of Barstool readers chose the Easter Bunny.
They said the Easter Bunny has an easier job than Santa Claus.
Crapping out chocolate eggs and hiding them in your yard is easier than flying around and having an army of slave labor.
Apparently, I'm with Colin on this one because I was not aware that the Easter Bunny actually crapped out chocolate eggs as part of the Easter ritual here.
Yeah,
I thought the Easter Bunny
has a harder job because he, doesn't have any hands. Opposable thumbs make things much easier.
I mean, I would have gone with you. I would have thought Santa Claus had an easier job because he has a flying sleigh. The bunny actually has to hop around the entire world.
Santa has magic.
Yeah.
The Easter Bunny doesn't.
The entire world with predators who want to eat the
Easter Bunny just has a prolapsed anus. That's all he has from the chocolate eggs. But, all right. Here's your question, Mike.
I hate you already. Your cheeks are getting red. I
took the order worked itself out. Is Eiffel Towering a chick with another guy gay?
Eiffel Towering a chick. I'm not 100% sure what that. Guess what? All right, so I'm gonna guess.
Well,
it's when. No. I'm gonna guess it's when she's on top and the other dude is standing up in front of her.
No.
What?
No. Eiffel Tower is like an A-frame, right? So you got the girl like a bench, basically, doggy, one on one side, one on the other side, and the guys are high-fiving. That's Eiffel Tower.
This is Barstool people we're talking about, so I'm going to say no.
76% of Barstool users say no, it is not gay.
According to the Lonely Island song.
Yep. I don't know what the choices in this question are, Colin, but you get to debate the internet, and there's no right answer here.
Okay. I'll be happy to make something up.
Who would you want to represent you in a trial by combat?
Oh, is that it?
That's
or
it.
Is there choices?
No, I said there's no choices. No,
what?
This is the card.
Who would I want to represent me in a trial by combat?
Yeah.
Okay, I would go with the United States Army.
No, it's a one-person answer. Trial by combat is one person. We all know this.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got my answer.
Okay, go ahead, Colin.
I guess it depends on when this happened. But we'll say if it was in the past, then it obviously would have to be Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. All right. So young Chuck Norris.
Or I guess if I was going with a more recent, Charles Nelson Riley.
You're going with a funny guy? Okay. All right, Mike, what's your answer?
Thanos, pre-snap.
Pre-snap.
Y'all got the Infinity Stones. Somebody's going to come after me?
Infinity Stones? Yeah.
There you go. I win.
All right. Here you go. Here's another poll for you, Mike. Right up your alley again. When you're drunk, is it better to get laid or have the ideal drunk meal?
What?
That's the question. When you're drunk, is it better to get laid or have the ideal drunk meal?
Well, again, since this is Barstool we're talking about.
Yep.
True that.
I'm going to have to go with get laid.
You'd be wrong. 53% of Barstool users said they go with the food.
53%. Okay, you know why? You know what? You know what the slight tilt was? One bite, everybody knows the rules, huh? Pizza review time, Frankie. One bite, everybody knows the rules. I got this pizza. Look, go down the carriage. Look, no flop. Good crisp.
Was there an answer to the
trial by combat? No, there wasn't. I mean, other than the obvious, which is Will Smith.
What do you do with the car? I don't understand this as a game.
It's just to go around the room and answer stupid questions.
Oh, okay.
Colin, I'm going to give you the trial by combat, though.
All right. Mama Blair says, I thought the reindeer crapped out the chocolate poop.
Who exactly wrote these questions? Mama Blair's asking, who wrote these questions?
Barstool Sports.
Barstool Sports.
Yeah. In fact, here's another question. It's for Colin. Answer the internet. You have to pick one or the other. Would you rather live your life as is or be a billionaire, but you have to blow a dude every day?
I have to say that would probably be worth having $1 billion at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
It is Barstool.
It's Barstool. They would say the same thing, I'm sure, if there was an answer on the card.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's like you have $1 billion.
I may kind of need a qualifier here. I mean, is it the same dude?
It just says a dude. It's
because if it's like just
eventually
it's like
you get really good at it, you know.
No. Because the point, if it's like a different random dude every day, this could be a problem. Because eventually you're going to wind up with like
stinky dude,
like the dirty bum at the end of the street because you've gone through everybody else.
Well, but if you have $1 billion, you don't have to stay in the same spot.
You can move to France.
Point stands every day. Oh.
Yeah, right. If it was $1 million, no. But at $1 billion, I mean, you're talking,
Yeah. All right, Mike.
You could rig it and not actually do it, and have everybody think you are. At that
Here you go, Mike. This is a great question for you. All right.
I don't trust you.
Would you rather relive your best sports moment or your best sex moment?
Oh, best sex moment.
You're saying that's far exceeds your best.
Bro, I ain't never won a Stanley Cup. I ain't never been heavyweight champion of the world. I ain't never won a World Series. I ain't never won a Super Bowl. I ain't never won a World Cup. I ain't never won an Olympic gold medal. All right, nothing. Wimbledon, you name it. I've never no.
But
best sex moment.
But you did get a gold star for the bedroom. That's what you're saying.
I've been told whether they were truthful or not. I've been told.
Here, Colin. This is another good one for you, Colin. All right. If you had to choose one meat, to eat for the rest of your life, which meat would it be? which animal would you choose?
No.
Source
You
of
can't
meat.
clarify. No, not animal. No.
Well, look, there's pictures of chicken and cow and pork.
Because see,
And a
pork
monkey.
is different than ham is
There's
different
even
than
a
bacon.
monkey. It says
Pork
meat.
is different. No, pork is different than ham is different than bacon. One meat.
Fine.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be a stickler.
Fine. So the meat, what I'm going to want is a whole pig.
So you're going Hawaiian luau, pig.
Pig.
Okay, that's
Just keep
fair.
giving me whole roast pigs.
That's a good
Fine.
workaround.
That's fair.
But obviously the answer to that question has to be pork because, it's fine as every other one. Chickens are fine, beef is fine. Nothing is as useful as a pig. Like they say, the only thing you can't eat on a pig is the squeal.
That's great.
I'm writing that one down.
Oh, you never heard that one before?
No.
Oh, yeah.
That may be my Wordle fact of the day tomorrow.
All right, Mike. In order for you to live, you have to kill a blind child who has the greatest voice of our generation. Are you killing the kid?
Wait. Oh, I'm so going to hell. Can I travel back in time for this one?
What, about 10 years or so?
Perhaps.
So are you killing the blind kid with the voice of an angel in order to survive?
Wait, read it one more time. What is the pro of doing this?
You continue to
world
live.
peace?
You continue to live, otherwise you die. You die, or the child, or the blind child dies.
Okay, you could if it comes down to him or me, it don't matter if he's blind, if he's deaf, if he's the golden child, it don't matter. Him or me, that's the root of the problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Survival instinct's kicking in. I'm going hostile on you.
And he can't see you coming, so it's going to be really easy.
That is not someplace my mind went.
I mean, as long as you're quiet, he won't even know who it was.
I mean, you're throwing the blind child in there to try and play with my emotions, and no, either way, it doesn't matter. You could put Mother Teresa in front of me. It's her or you. Well, that's a simple answer. I want to live.
All right, Colin. Simple question, simple answer.
Okay.
Although this one does have a right answer. Which one did Barstool survey participants prefer most? Waffles or pancakes?
Oh, that was difficult.
More difficult than killing a blind child.
I didn't have to answer that one.
More difficult than blowing a guy for $1 billion.
I'd do nearly anything for $1 billion.
Okay.
If I had $1 billion, I'd blow a man.
I'd say $1 billion or kill a blind child is probably more difficult to answer than live. But pancakes or waffles, now that blows both of them right out.
That's an ethical conundrum right there. Oh, we got to
I'd
consult the
say-
Bible. Jesus said unto thee, taketh these pancakes or waffles.
I'd pick pancakes simply because there's a lot more variety in pancakes than waffles.
You're wrong. Barstool users like the little pools for the syrup. They 52% say waffles.
Alan has never had a stuffed waffle before.
He needs.
Oh, I've had a stuffed waffle. I'm just thinking, I like
got to be kidding me.
the IHOP waffles with the
All right.
the grain ones.
Okay, saying IHOP when you're talking about waffles or pancakes is kind of like saying Red Lobster when you're talking about seafood. I mean, that's like the most generic of generics.
Yes, but that's what everybody has. So if I say IHOP, everybody knows what I'm talking.
What if they have
Okay.
a Waffle House?
If I say
Okay, he's relating to the audience, not.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Okay.
no, in my head, I'm comparing which do I think is better, a waffle or a Charlie Parker's pancake big enough to live in.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have no idea what that is.
That's
It's the size
true.
of a medium pizza.
Okay.
All right. Don't answer this, Mike. I'm just going to tell you the ridiculousness of the question, but you are not to answer this one. We'll move on to the next card as soon as I read it. And you'll find out why in just a second. All right. Which NFL team would win? All white players or all black players?
Moving on.
Yes, we're not answering that question. I just want to tell you what Barstool Sports thinks. If you won $300 million, what are the first three things you would buy?
First three things I would buy for $300 million.
Yep.
A new house, not in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I care about right now. A new house, not in New Jersey, that I would buy the fiber optic line to provide internet to said house.
Mm-hmm. Because it
Because
most likely would
where
be
I wanna
someplace
li-
far away.
Correct. And
You buying Kim a goat? Maybe some
no,
chickens?
I'm not buying Kim a goat. I'm gonna buy Kim a steel building on said property that will be the new home of Butterstown with all of the machinery that she, all the manufacturing machinery that she would want.
Yep.
That she keeps saying in our next house.
Yep. Sounds good.
Those will be the three. Although the new house would really be the first one, and that'd be it.
All right. Okay. No, not answering that one. Not asking that one. That's a bit crude. All right. Kyle. Nope. Not that one either. I think we got into the rough cards. Here we go. Okay, this is a good one. Good one for Colin. Would you rather be, there's three choices here, the most attractive person in the world but blind, the best singer in the world but deaf, or the best chef in the world but have no sense of taste?
Third.
The best chef in the world but have no sense of taste.
Yes. But mostly just because that's the one I can do without.
Yes, but as many COVID sufferers would tell you, it's not much fun.
No, it's not much fun, but there are two things I must be able to do. I must be able to read a book, and I must be able to listen to a book. As long as I can do one of those two things, then the other senses,
All right.
or just at least one of those.
Yes, a lot of chefs have no sense of taste, and that's why so many chefs smoke.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, other way around, but yes, I understand.
All right. And Mike, we'll do this is the last round. It's the last one for you. This is pretty much a yes/no question. Okay, so tell me whether the majority of Barstool Sports people said yes or no. You can tell us your own personal preference if you like, but you don't have to. Are there sacred days when you refuse to masturbate, i.e., funerals, tragedies, religious holidays, etc.?
All right, so Barstool listeners, Barstool fans are going to say no. In fact, I think there may be some kind of Barstool challenge that kind of like the Opie and Anthony have sex in St. Patrick's Cathedral thing, where it's like, okay, where's the most unusual place you've been able to masturbate? So I think Barstool users are going to say no. Me personally, of course there is. There are limits to inhibitions.
Okay, 75% of Barstool users readers said yes, there are sacred days when they do not.
These are a bunch of liars.
Like
okay, these are guys that worship the ground Dave Portnoy walks on, and he would that bunch of liars living in mommy's basement. Liars.
Too much thought into it.
All right. Colin, who would win in a battle royale? 30 midgets or one full-grown lion?
It's a fight between 30 midgets and a lion.
Yes, who would win?
Are they armed midgets?
No, they're just 30 regular midgets.
They're Ewoks.
They picked them up from the cast of The Wizard of Oz and said, here you go.
No, they picked them up from the cast of Under the Rainbow.
Yes. Or
which
possibly Willy Wonka.
Okay. For a lion, I'm going to say midgets. If it was a tiger, I'd say the tiger.
So you're saying lions are more of a puss than tiger is?
Lions are weak. Lions are more fragile than tigers.
What about bears? Oh my!
Back in the oldie times, when they were doing different animals fighting other animals, they thought that'd be a fun idea to get a lion and a bear. And so they had those two fight, which consisted of lion goes roar, roar, bear went Will Smith slap, lion dead. Now,
okay.
Bear versus tiger, that's actually a fight. I mean, there's a chance the tiger might win, but probably not, depending on the size of the bear.
And that is...
But bear versus lion was never in question.
And that is Ask the Internet for tonight's episode. All right.
Okay. You guys are lucky that this is not available anywhere, because I would have been invoking some serious privilege here and saying we're reviewing Under the Rainbow on the next show.
Is that the one with
Chevy Chase, Carrie Fisher,
no,
and a whole bunch of little people?
What was let's see here, hold on. I was talking about this the other day, but I don't think it's her. Who was in Hitchhiker's Guide? Who was the girl in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Oh, Zoe Deschanel.
Okay.
Zoe Deschanel.
I think she was in a movie called The Oz or something. Wasn't she? It was like a sci-fi miniseries.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about.
Tin Man. Tin Man is what it was.
Yes. Yes.
It was a really good one. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it.
I remember it.
So
that's the most I can say is I remember it.
That was like a darker, grown-up version of.
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah, it was pretty dark, but it was good. Huh. Can't find it. All right. So anyway, yeah, it was a miniseries.
Alan, The only reason to go into the past is to change. All right? I mean, haven't you ever seen a movie?
Yeah, I was just seeing if there was anything that we needed to, before we got into our movie reviews here in a bit, if there was anything else that we needed to discuss or deal with.
No, I had posted a list.
Oh, and I had two.
So the list I had posted was a bunch of fans share their wildest film theories. And some of these, when I read through the list, I was like, I can get behind this.
Fans share their wildest film theories.
Ridiculous as it sounds.
Okay, so some of them are: Forrest's son wasn't really his. Jenny knew she was dying and wanted someone to raise her kid. Jack was a figment of Rose's imagination.
That one I can almost get behind.
Donkey was once a child in Pinocchio. From Harry Potter, Neville's has a bad memory due to a botched obliviate spell.
So this all came about, and I'm going to delve into this one because I heard Colin's reaction. This one kind of came about because people were like, what if Harry wasn't the chosen one?
Right.
Kind of like,
I mean,
right?
yeah.
What if it was Neville and somebody tried to wipe all the misery away when Neville failed with a bad memory spell?
Yeah. The Joker from The Dark Knight is a former Black Ops soldier gone rogue.
I mean, you could say the Joker from The Dark Knight is a former dog trainer. I mean,
you know,
you can say anything on that one.
Doc
Brown is Marty from the future. Okay.
No.
Let's see here.
I'm gonna jump down because here's another one that I think Colin might find interesting. By and large, is the biggest Pixar villain.
I've seen that one.
John Wick is Neo if he took the blue pill.
I like this one as well.
The events of Greece are Sandy's dying thoughts after drowning, hence the flying car. I've heard that one before.
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all about that one. Grandpa Joe is the real villain of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Now, the next one I don't think is necessarily
all the grandparents.
Well, no, the next one I don't think necessarily is a theory. I think it's somewhat, confirmed. James Bond isn't one person; it's just a cover name.
Never really been confirmed within the movies, but it's a fun idea.
Yeah,
because there was a new 007, and her name was not James Bond.
Zion is part of the Matrix from the Matrix 2, which nobody liked, or 3, nobody liked.
You skipped the Twilight one, which I think would actually make Twilight a little more easy to watch. That Bella was actually hit by the car in the first film, fell into a coma, and all of the events that follow are just her dream.
Nah.
Which is why the vampires sparkle. Titanic, Inception, and Shutter Island are all in the same universe, and Leo's character is the same all the way through. That's another.
I don't know any till we get down to the Clueless and Legally Blonde one. I haven't seen any of the other movies.
Yeah. The Kill Bill one is kind of silly. The rumor there is that, like, Bill actually killed himself, so the exploding heart technique didn't actually work. And I'm looking at that going, well, if you're going to say that, then maybe he's not actually dead. He's decided to pretend to be dead.
So they say Legally Blonde is a sequel to Clueless because the timelines align. Pennywise and Mary Poppins are the same species.
Okay, that one. All right.
Anytime a member of the Addams family passes away, it never seems to be from a normal circumstance. Therefore, members of the Addams family cannot kill one another.
Yeah.
That would kind of make sense. Okay.
Yeah, some of these are outdated because there's been newer movies since that have gotten rid of them.
I do like the Home Alone one, though. Kevin McAllister grows up to be the villain from Saw.
So the Ferris Bueller one, Ferris Bueller all took place in Cameron's head. He's the embodiment of everything Cameron wishes he could be. Actually, wasn't there a theory that that Ferris was actually a fan? No. I thought there was one that like Ferris was kind of like the imaginary friend of Cameron.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that was another theory.
Yeah. Like Bruce Almighty, Morgan Freeman's character isn't God, he's the devil. You know. Boy, this list just keeps on going and going and going. We could stay here forever.
I didn't know it was this.
So, anyway,
well, okay. So the Pixar movies are all part of the same universe. I think that's been a theory for quite a while, because there's a bunch of connected stuff here.
It gets harder and harder as they get more and more movies, but people still make it a competition to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So there was another list on here of movies, because we've all pulled the ripcord on a movie, I think, from our movie review. At some point, we've all said, okay, that's enough. We can't handle this anymore. But somebody came up with a list of the worst movies they couldn't even finish. And here's some of the controversial takes. Now, I'll admit, I haven't watched some of these. So the 2010 version of The Last Airbender, which was a live-action version of the cartoon.
I remember watching it, but I don't remember anything else about it.
2004's The Village. Didn't watch it.
I remember watching the end, and I was like, "Wow, that was around the time that M. Night's twists kind of went."
2013's American Hustle.
Didn't see it.
2016's Sausage Party. I know a lot of people that didn't even bother to start watching it or didn't finish it.
Yeah, I'm on the former.
The end scene was hilarious. I'm sorry.
I've seen the end scene. I haven't seen the rest of it.
If you have low morals like I do, or if you're scum of the earth like I am to an extent, Sausage Party is a hysterical movie, especially if you're drunk and or high.
2007 Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire.
It was okay.
2007's
it's not as good as the first two.
2007's Freddy Got Fingered.
One of the worst movies of all time, which I have never seen, because that was back when I was on a huge Siskel and Ebert kick.
I don't believe that they would have liked Tom Green at all.
No, yeah.
Yes. Kenna, you and I are... That movie scarred me for life. Game over, man.
2017 is The Greatest Showman. Evidently, it was supposed to be a great show, but it's a musical, so I didn't watch it. 2004's Napoleon Dynamite. Very polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it.
I will fight anybody who thinks that movie is stupid.
2009's The Human Centipede. Not going to watch it. Not one of.
I don't understand why you would start watching it.
Hold on. There was Human Centipede 1.
Yes.
Then they made 2.
Yep.
And then they made 3.
Yes.
3 movies I've never seen.
Blade Runner from 2049 from 2017. Again,
I liked it.
not one of mine. The Witch from 2015. Tom and Jerry from 2021. Beautiful Creatures from 2013. Bridesmaids from 2011. I thought that got really good reviews.
So did I.
Zoolander 2 from 2016.
I forgot.
Les Miserables.
Les Mis, I think people, because this one, not because it was bad, but because it got kind of graphic.
Here's one that I don't understand what people were expecting when they started watching it. Epic Movie from 2007. It was already a parody movie. It's just going to be what it is. Aquaman from 2018. I thought that was pretty good all around. The Notebook from 2014. Or from 2004, sorry. Didn't watch it. That's
I don't understand some of these, really. Like,
yeah.
And here's the problem. Like, okay, so, all right. So, I guess if I click more, they give like one comment as to why people stopped watching it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We've watched worse, and
yeah, a lot worse.
So,
In
okay,
fact,
I guess we're kind of. Are we going to touch? Amber Heard is the reason people won't watch Aquaman. I think people don't watch Aquaman just because Aquaman is the biggest underrated superhero out there, and this was long before Amber Heard was like, as an actress. I don't know. She's like the dollar store Ryan Reynolds' wife. What's his wife's name?
Nicole Kidman.
That's not Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Kirsten Dunst.
No. Not helping me. Brooke Lively.
Amal Clooney.
Yeah, back on, yeah.
So Amber Heard is like the dollar store Brooke Lively, right? And I don't think she's a great actress.
No, Christy Teigen. That's his wife's name.
No. Listen, I would not watch anything with Chrissy Teigen.
Victoria Beckham. That's it.
Now you just
Chrissy Teigen isn't an actress, right? She's just a social influence.
I don't know what she is. Mama Blair is saying Blade Runner. Watching it with my mother-in-law. She was watching a completely different movie. Colin had to explain the plot and gave up. Listen, 2049 to me is one of those sequels that should have never been made.
Sorry,
the original Blade Runner. That's the whole.
I got it right.
Or maybe 2049. I don't remember.
His wife's name is
sure
Portia de Rossi. Sorry, I got that wrong. So
there was. I can't remember what it was. There was a movie the last couple of years. I think it was back when I was doing Movie Pass, where I watched about. I was in the theater. I watched about halfway through the movie, and I realized I think I would be happier not to be here anymore. And I actually bailed out of a movie in the movie theater for the first time.
I've never bailed out of a movie in the movie theater.
When you've paid like $15 for a movie, you're going to watch the movie.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But if you have Movie Pass or AMT stuff, A-list, it's like I don't actually have to finish this.
I mean, I have been at a movie where when the lights came up, I looked at whoever I was with and I was like, I cannot believe we just sat through this. I mean, it was... All right, it is 8:30. Let's... Oh, God.
yes, so let's talk about movies because we haven't talked about them yet. And we've got two movies, and I don't remember what they are. So, Mike, tell us, what two movies are we going to talk about tonight?
So we have Hawk and Rev, Vampire Slayers, and Gunpowder Milkshake.
Ah, okay. That's what they were. Well, that makes sense now. Okay, which one do you want to talk about first? Probably the best one we should cover first, right? So, Hawk and Rev? Obviously.
God, you want to talk about Hawk and Rev? Let's talk about Hawk and Rev.
Let's
Sure.
talk about Hawk and Rev.
Let's talk about Hawk and Rev.
All right,
Let's talk about Hawk and Rev.
Colin, we're going to talk about Hawk and Rev, and you're going to go first.
Okay. I don't know why this movie was made. You spend the entire movie going, okay, when does this movie start? Because I've been watching this movie for now over an hour, and it doesn't seem to have started yet. Hawk and Rev is, you have a guy who camps out in his parents' backyard because he was in the military, and because of that, he is not all there mentally. But he was thrown out of the military because he killed a vampire who was a fellow soldier. I don't know if it was ever really quite explained or if purposely left open-ended of whether or not he was supposed to... Was he crazy? Was it really a vampire? I don't know if it was ever really said. Because there is a vampire in the movie, sort of, but you could say that he's just crazy too. So, movie starts with a guy being killed by, we assume, a vampire. Now, we say assume because through the plot of the movie, whoever killed this guy is definitely not actually in this movie. In fact, as far as I can tell, that particular scene has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. And this happens a couple more times where some other random person outside of the main characters gets killed by what we assume is supposed to be a vampire, but again, has nothing to do with the actual movie. And I say that because there's a character in the movie who is supposed to be a vampire and who they actually slay at the end of the movie, but he has literally just become a vampire. So he obviously cannot be the vampire who was killing other people in the other scenes in the movie. So again, I don't know what was the point. Anyway, character thinks other people are vampires. They're not vampires. But he spent the bulk of the movie with the guy getting ready to attack vampires who aren't actually vampires and talking to someone who apparently would be a vampire, but only at the very, very end of the movie. So, if you want to watch an hour and a half of a crazy person thinking there might be vampires and wandering around being a moron for way too long before not finding vampires and then finding a vampire, this is the movie for you. I don't know. I don't. I don't know why this movie was made. I don't know why the people who made the movie. All I can say is there's only one good scene in the entire movie, and it's during the credits. That was kind of funny. So there you go. If you don't want to waste your time, fast forward to the credits, but they probably won't make any sense then. So I'm sorry. Don't bother doing that either. I'm going to give this one a verb.
A verb. Okay. I'll go next, and then I'll let Mike wrap up because I'm sure he has the most formal of notes. All right. So, Hawk and Rev Vampire Slayers. It was made in 2020, but I believe that they used a Commodore 64 to do the editing and special effects because it looks like everything was, from the intro graphics forward, was done on about maybe an 8-bit operating system. It could have even been a 6-bit. I don't know. I don't know that actually existed, but it looks like it. And what's really weird is Hawk actually looks like a guy from my church. I was half tempted to ask him if he ever did any like acting, but I know that that's not his name, so it's not him. But it could be his twin brother. I don't know. So you end up with this Philip Hawkins, who lives, breathes, and dreams of killing vampires, and then you also have his friend Rev, who is a vegan pacifist groundskeeper, who goes with him. A weirder combination of heroes, if you will, there has never been. And the only funny parts to this movie, because I would consider it a comedy, are some of the weird gags. So the security system they use and the video monitors and things like that are all basically nanny cams that he used for observing his cheating girlfriend. Those are the funny bits that they don't make you chuckle, but they make you go, huh. That's as close as you get to laughing. This movie just drags on forever and ever and ever, and you can tell that the only thing that they could afford to really film in was an empty building, because that's all you see is an empty building and a couple of crappy vans. So I think they made this for about the cost of lunch, and they probably did it in one day, because it's like, I'll be damned, we're doing it in a single take, and that's it. We're not doing retakes, so if you flub a line, that's on you, and it's making it into the final copy. To give you an idea, I watched another movie that wasn't on our list, but I watched it anyway because I was babysitting my dog, and it's a movie called Dylan Dog, all right, and it stars Brandon Routh, all right. Now this is a different movie entirely, but you can think of it kind of like an I, Frankenstein, but not really. That movie actually had a budget of, like a couple of lunches, and it did a much better job than this. So Hawk and Rev have a long way to go if they ever want to pull off a sequel. Essentially the director, writer, creator is also the star because they wanted to get an acting credit here. And it shows. So rather than Colin and being very, graceful with my rating, I'm going to give this a puke with chunks. All right. That's how bad this is. All right. Mike, it's now your turn. Tell us what you thought. This is probably like a cobbler or something, right? I mean, you loved it. You're going to watch it again and again. Show it to all your friends. You're muted.
Am I muted?
Not anymore.
I wasn't muted. I was mumbling.
Okay.
This review brought to you by Rams Point Peanut Butter Whiskey. Before this even begins, I have a terrible feeling about this movie. Hawk is not the brightest bulb in the drawer, is he? All that rope to tie his stuff down in the wagon. Doesn't have any rope to tie his wagon to the bike. A vegan pacifist. The only thing that could make this mofo move up on my I'm going to use you as shark bait list is if he was British. 24 minutes into this thing, and I'm looking for a steak to stab my own freaking heart out. Dollar store Owen Wilson trying to be vampire killer is not making this easy to watch at all. And Rev is dollar store TJ Miller from Deadpool. 31 minutes in, and this whole monologue of movie quotes is really starting to... Okay, you know what? The entire movie's pissed me off. I pulled the ripcord 50 minutes in. I reached my breaking point, and I said, yeah, you know what? This gets Kill It With Fire. Whoever put this on the list... Looking at you, Shag. Whoever put this on the list, I hope you get itching and burning in places that only a specialist can treat. That's it. That's the review. That's it.
All right. So we move on to the other movie, which was, I think it wasn't a random choice. We picked it because it was a fairly new release of what we would refer to as a real movie. on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Gunpowder Milkshake, and we'll go in the same order. Colin?
Yep. Gunpowder Milkshake. Quick couple-word review. John Wick with a woman. That's basically what this is. In fact, this movie was made at about the same budget as the original John Wick, which just tells you how good the director is of John Wick, that he got so much more out of his money than they managed to get in Gunpowder Milkshake. Stars Karen Gillan, has everybody in it. I mean, this movie, they must have spent most of their budget on hiring all the actors. You know, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Paul Giamatti. It was just everybody in this movie. You say either, oh, it's, you know, you either recognize or you go, hey, it's that guy. But very much like a John Wick movie, it's all action scenes strung together with a light bit of plot. And some of the scenes are the sets are a little cheap looking, so it looks a little bit too independent in some spots. Some of them, like the library, are beautiful looking. If you know the plot of John Wick, this is very similar. There's no dog, but it's, you know, instead of a dog, it's a little girl whose father gets shot by the main character, then she feels bad about it, and then everything else happens. Shaggy and Mike may go into more details in the plot. I'm just going to say, if you like John Wick, watch this movie. It's a lot of fun. You got some really good actors having a lot of fun doing action scenes together. And if the plot doesn't make much sense, who cares? It's a blast. I'm going to give it I'll give it an SEG.
All right.
It's definitely not it's not a Schneikes, but it's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy yourself.
All right. So, if you're looking for a cerebral movie, this is not it. All right. If you want a thinker, no. Gunpowder Milkshake is a shoot 'em up, bang bang movie with lots of not quite nonstop action, but plenty. And as Colin said, it has a lot of good names in it, a lot of people that you'll know. Paul Giamatti makes a fairly decent appearance in this. He plays one of the kind of, I don't know if it's critical characters, but he's one of the story arc characters in this. So it's very good that way, and it's a fun movie to watch. Really, you know, if you like violence, if you like just, you know, raw aggression, but you're tired of seeing it from an all male cast, this is going to be a nice change for you. So if your woman wants a bit of a beat 'em up movie, this is a great one for them. So definitely think about that if you want to try something that you'll enjoy, but that'll, you know, have a bit of it. It also, it, like Colin said, it includes Michelle Yeoh, who is actually starring in another film, which I don't know if it's on our list, but it probably should be, which is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is another, I believe it's a Netflix show, a similar action movie, I believe. Haven't watched it yet. Was also in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So, I mean, there's a lot going on here, and it's just kind of a fun romp. So I may actually watch this again because it's that kind of interesting and just a fun thing to do. So I'm going to give this one a Schneikes. Actually, I'll give it a Schneikes because, like I said, the truth to me is, am I going to watch it again? All right, Mike, you're up.
Thank you. Okay, so a lot of my review is going to pretty much echo what Colin said in his. I guess the diner is the equivalent to the Continental Hotel in John Wick, and I really felt like this was a female version of John Wick. But then there was one scene where it kind of went guns akimbo, where she had the guns taped to her hands in order to fight. This was another movie where I just kind of got into watching it and stopped taking notes. I mean, overall, this was a female John Wick, which was my original guess. Not quite as violent, which I'm not surprised because it was a Netflix original. So they did tone it down a little from John Wick, but it was still very entertaining. And I can see how this sets up for a possible sequel. I don't know if that's going to happen, but so I'm not really counting on it, but it would be great if it did. I'm giving this a smile, but on the quote-unquote real movie scale, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. Reserving to see if a sequel comes out. This was one I really enjoyed. The only reason I didn't give it higher than a smile, to be honest with you, is I'm still kind of figuring out how we're rating these real movies compared to the crap we normally wind up watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for comparative purposes, I haven't watched any of the John Wick films. So I don't have that frame of reference, that you guys have. So
You should really watch the John Wick films.
I have them. I just haven't watched them. They just haven't been in rotation. Like I said, I if that Dylan Dog movie was available somewhere, I would put it on our list because it is that right mix for us. You guys would really enjoy it. Plus, Brandon Routh is he's an interesting actor to watch, right? Played Superman. So it's interesting to see him in a little bit of a different role. But so, all right. So we have to pick the next films. Yep. And do we have anything?
I will say Gunpowder Milkshake sequel is in active development.
Okay.
So we do have a little bit of a issue here, I think, because some of these I went through. I don't know if you guys looked at the sheet. I went through and tried to pull out the real movies, quote unquote, and put them on their own tab. I'm not sure if any of these new Netflix ones that have been added should be on that tab or not. I probably should have talked to you guys before or let you know I was doing that. But we can decide if we come up with a real movie, we can go ahead and figure it out along the way. So let's do the candidates first, which is 1 to 49.
1 to 49. 23.
23. Let's see. This is, can't find that. Hold on. Why is it not? Let's see. This is, let me search and see if it's here. Okay. So it says Parker, which is a heist double cross with Jason Statham, but that is not found on Netflix. So I'm not sure if that was.
It's on Tubi right now, but that's okay if we want to try something else.
Yeah, I would say that's a movie I've seen. It's fine. It's a real movie. I don't see us getting a lot of.
Okay, we can try some. How about 20? How about 20?
20 is. Okay, that's available. It's on Netflix. It's called Freaks. The description just says dystopian. And Kenna did write in. I apologize because I wasn't watching the suggestion sheet. I had too many screens open. I love Gunpowder Milkshake. It reminded me far more of Shoot 'em Up mixed with Birds of Prey. That's a very good reference there. Birds of Prey, yes.
So
Or
Freaks
the Emancipation
is,
of one Harley
okay, so
Quinn.
there are 2 different
Sie und ihre
freaks.
5 Freunde wurden
So
von einer
we're
Frau
looking for the.
von einer Frau.
Die Tussi, die hatte irgendwie
Okay,
so
wait a second, hold on.
Superkräfte oder so.
So there are 2 different
What?
freaks. Okay.
Nee, ist
We
ja
do not
Well,
want
well,
the one which is in German.
No.
We don't want the 1932 one. Trust me.
What are you playing, dude?
I'm not playing. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize my sound was coming through.
Is this? It's the one with the ice cream truck looking thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm guessing. Hidden away by her eccentric father,
All
a
right.
mysterious young girl uncovers frightening truths when she starts to make contact with the outside world.
Okay.
Emile Hirsch and Bruce Stern star in it. It's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
is
Well, at least it's
One,
in English.
one step above British.
Well, no, it's 1 step away from French.
Hey, there's somebody from Battlestar Galactica. Fun.
All right. Next up, number 9. If we're picking from that list.
9. I guess we are. Well, I don't know. Is Freaks? Are we considering that a real movie or no?
I don't think it's a real movie.
No, it's not a real movie. It's distributed by Well Go USA Entertainment. That's not a real movie.
Okay. All right. So here you go. Make it real easy. 1 through 4.
1 through 4. 3.
3. Okay. This is off of Netflix, and this is Don't Look Up.
Oh, okay.
I originally put this on the list. Then I saw later that it was vaguely political. But then I decided, well, we did watch that terrible Zucker movie that was political, so we might as well leave this one on. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is weird because I watched what I think came out at a similar time frame was Moonfall. I don't know if you guys have watched that yet or not.
Yes, I liked Moonfall.
I have not.
Moonfall was good. Moonfall.
I mean, it was considered one of the worst movies of the year, but I don't care because it reminded me of many of my favorite books.
Yeah. So all
Was
right.
that on Netflix or was that Amazon?
Moonfall.
That was in theater.
Theaters.
Moonfall was in theater.
Oh, it was in theaters.
I'm not sure where it is now.
Yeah. So all right. I'll work on trying to put some more on the real list. There's one that I just saw, which is Captain Nova, which looks interesting. I don't know. One of the weird things is Netflix has been suggesting a bunch of stuff which isn't in English. So I don't know why they think I speak all these foreign languages.
You know what? They suggested some submarine series thing that's overdubbed, and I'm like, dude, why?
Yeah. Okay. See, I've even got
Don't
language.
do that.
English. I wonder if I can change it to like English only. Don't bother with no.
Although
crap.
I mean, I guess I get it because I watched a Netflix series called All of Us Are Dead, I think. And it was a zombie show, so Shaggy wouldn't watch it. But it was overdubbed with English.
Well, we all watched
I mean,
that one,
can
which was
understand.
like the Avengers ripoff that was overdubbed.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It was
like
Russian. It was
my
overdubbed,
display
yeah.
language, English, shows and movie languages, English. I have no other languages selected. Why are you showing me all these other languages?
You know what I think the solution to this is?
Everybody
Elon
must
has to
learn-
buy Netflix.
Elon needs to buy Netflix. That's a great idea. Great idea.
And we would be happy to run it for you, Elon.
That's right. We can pick out all the best. Send us all the pre-production stuff, all the stuff, and we'll review it. And it has to get a mat or higher to go on to Netflix. Oh,
We will
but
be
we're rebranding
your
it.
movie czars.
We're rebranding it Streaming Diamonds.
Yes, but,
Okay,
but
so
remember,
listen,
Elon, my earlier answer about the $1 billion was just for the purposes of that question. Don't get me
Oh, well played, sir. Well played. So,
That's our poison.
completely.
That's the poison pill in the contract right there.
I completely forgot what I was going to say before because that was a gem. Wow.
So, yeah, Amazon. Jeff. That's up to you too. All right. You want us to review all the Amazon Prime movies? We'll be more than happy to do that.
Oh man,
That would be an awesome job. Professional film previewer.
absolutely would.
You know.
I would.
All right.
Oh,
well,
that's what I was going to ask you guys. Did you guys since we don't review series
well, we do sometimes.
and we don't I don't want to well
We
not as part of the segment.
I just
We
haven't
don't want to
been
go
putting
down
them
this
on.
road.
We had though. We did with Black's Books. We did with a couple other ones. I just haven't been putting any on because it's usually a significant time investment because I can't watch, unless the series really sucks, I end up watching the whole damn thing.
Well, and that's my point. Like, I did not think I was going to like season 2 of Space Force.
I watched it all. I'm done.
So I did.
I haven't got to that
So
one
I
yet.
mean, we can talk about the series, but I got enough trouble trying to fit in some of these 90-minute movies, let alone an entire series.
Yeah, let me see here. Let me just look at my viewing activity on Netflix real quick, and I'll tell you. So I'm starting up I'm into season 6 of Lucifer now. I'm done with DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I'm caught up on there. I am. Come on, show more.
Yes, and by done you may literally be done because we don't know if they're coming back.
Lost in Space. I'm all caught up on. I watched Outside the Wire was one of ours. Knight Rider 2. And I watched all the Knight Riders.
I get pulled in those every so often.
I'm done with season 7 of The Flash. I watched all the baking shows. I'm completely caught up with baking. There is no great blank bake-off in the world that I haven't watched yet.
I am going to disagree with you.
What?
There is one that keeps popping up on frickin' Netflix.
Oh yeah, the Bureau of Magical Things. I watched all that too.
What is it? I think it's called Is It Cake?
Yeah, it's okay.
No.
I don't.
No, what I meant was literally the Great Blank Bake Off. Not like Bake Off shows, but shows specifically titled the Great Blank, like the Great British, the Great Australian, the Great Kiwi, the Great Zimbabwean. I've watched them all.
Impressive.
The Great Irish.
So
I've watched that too.
I'm just scrolling through. So Yakimo's S245 is the one that kept popping up now. Like, oh, you must watch me. I'm like, no, I don't. Altered Carbon, I tried to watch and I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get past the first or second episode. It just started bothering me. Bright. We talked about Bright. Well, apparently Bright 2 has been shelved, but my question has been, I didn't know Bright 2 was ever greenlit. I think this is Netflix just trying to capitalize on.
No, it was greenlit. We knew that when Bright 1 came out, and it was a huge success. They immediately greenlit Bright 2.
Oh, okay. I guess, my alcoholism is catching up to me, I guess. I don't know.
But Shaggy, you just called out the one thing that we learned from watching all of the bake-offs.
What?
Is that the Irish cannot bake.
No, they can't. They're dumb. They can drink. They should have the Great Irish Drink Off. That's what they should have.
Okay. Speaking of Ireland, and I know we're like out of time here, but something popped up in my Twitter feed here. Apparently, there was a big announcement today from our governor, and again, I'm not trying to get political here. That where is it here? He's partnering with Irish businesses, and where is it? What's it? Green something. Go Apple Green.
It's not just any company, he said. It's Irish, and it's completely consistent with the things we care about. It's a really stupid thing for a politician to say. It's not just any country, they're white.
Choose NG.
Proud
Irish
to
companies
announce
are finding a second home in New Jersey.
Yeah. So apparently there's a New Jersey Ireland mission is like trending locally with me here. And somebody, I don't understand. What exactly is Go Apple Green? What are they doing?
Well, your governor.
What do they do?
Here's what happened. Your governor wanted to go to Dublin. So he is leaving tomorrow for the Innovation Summit Dublin for 3 days. New Jersey Europe Center representatives will lead discussions on New Jersey's innovation ecosystem and the resources and support available for international companies. Yep.
Everywhere
There's no
the
way to
governor
not
has
get
gone,
political.
He has emphasized the connections between Ireland and New Jersey, which has one of the largest Irish-American populations of any state. You look in the mirror in New Jersey, and you see Ireland, he said. And you look in the mirror in Ireland, and I think you see New Jersey.
27% of all Irish exports go to the United States.
Yeah,
I
think
have
we
lived
can
in
stay
New Jersey.
non-political here, Mike, and say this is one of the most racist things I've ever seen.
I have lived in New Jersey my entire life. I have never looked in the mirror and thought, Ireland. Ever.
I'm sorry. Every time New Jersey comes up in anything, that Hollywood puts out,
there's an O'Malley somewhere. No, wait
exactly.
No, there.
It's Tony Soprano.
No, there is.
Yes.
It's Irish or Italian. You got to go with one of the I's.
Are you talking about Irish?
The beat cops. Those aren't Italian. Those are Irish.
I'm sorry. But like some of the people I follow on Twitter are like, all of a sudden, I will never spend. What are you trying to put Wawa out of business? I'm like, what exactly does Go Apple Green do? Apparently, they sell petrol. And I'm like, well, Wawa makes subs. And they happen to have a gas station. They don't compete.
Yeah.
What in the hell is going on here? But Ireland is the New Jersey is the Ireland of America. What does that mean, Governor Murphy? Please explain to me. I know marijuana is legal here now, but come on. Work with me.
There's 10% of the Garden State which has Irish ancestry.
Sure.
That's what they say.
Sure.
Let's see here. Where do they live? Toms River, Brick, Marlton, Bayonne, Williamstown, Hoboken, Blackwood, Jackson, Woodbury, Middleton.
All right. Now you're gonna force Middletown, not Middleton.
What?
Please don't do that.
Middletown. And Spring Lake.
You might as well. Newark. How would you say it? Newark.
Newark.
Okay, good. You pass.
Yeah, that's pretty well known. But But ATHENS.
Yeah, but look how many people go Illinois. So, you know.
No, ATHENS.
Athens.
No, it's Athens.
This who?
It's yeah.
It says the city of Athens, Illinois.
So anyway, all right.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Athens, Greece.
And then there's Cairo, Illinois.
No, there. Well, yeah, we all call it Cairo though. All right. Thank you for.
So we end the show telling everyone I hate our governor in New Jersey.
Well, tell everybody that you
hate
teeth looking like he'd been chewing on rocks half of his life, Governor Murphy.
Well, we end the show telling people that you hate the Irish. That's what we end up.
I don't hate the Irish. I just don't understand. I don't relate to the Irish. That don't mean I don't hate them. I don't mean I hate them. No.
That there are no good governors in the entire country. Period.
Fair statement.
Okay.
Fair statement.
All right.
Fair statement.
All right. With that nugget of news, we thank you guys for tuning in. Are we coming back next week? Or are we taking a break? Or what are we doing?
I think we are coming back next week.
All right. We're coming back next week. So we'll be back here on the 2nd. We will get back on track doing episodes on a regular basis. And maybe next week I'll let you know why we were gone so long. Since we didn't get to it this week. Who knows what game we're going to play next time? It could be this one. It could be internet search history. It could be, shit happens. Oh, I hit the wrong button.
I'll tell you what, Shaggy.
Yeah.
For next show, I will come up with a game, and I will host.
All right.
Take the burden off of you. How's that?
Mike plays the game. Mike does the game next time. Okay, cool. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to spread the word. Let everybody know about the show at PTR Radio on your favorite social media network. And as always, go to ptrradio.com, sign up for the podcast, download the show, and tell everybody else to do it. And you can send your movie suggestions into our Facebook as well. If you think there's a movie that we need to take a look at and it's available on one of the streaming platforms, let us know and we can add it to the list. And we'll probably tell you, yep, we already watched it and we didn't like it. But if we haven't, we'll add it to the list. So with that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
Yeah, Mike the 8 Man.
Sick of forking us, folks. We are done. Later.